All right, let's get started. We're going to be looking at fantasy matchup Tennessee versus Denver. Pretty easy matchup for the Broncos in week one. NFL tries to make the games competitive in that week one matchups, and this is the most lopsided of them all. It's going to be a tall task for a rookie quarterback to go into Denver and win that first week. Denver needs this game to get off to a good start. They face the Colts in week two, very winnable, but then have matchups against at the Chargers, Bengals at home with a good offense there, and at the Eagles. So Denver should get off to a good start in this week one. They're going to need it. So we're going to go through how about the matchups. We're going to go through the fantasy matchups between the two. Wide receiver one would be Ridley versus Sutton. Some running back Pollard versus RJ Harvey, possible number ones, and the quarterback matchups. But we're going to start down here at the bottom with wide receiver number 4, who has the best fantasy depth on their teams. How about Alec Ilamanor for Tennessee, right? Rookie wide receiver brought in the 4th round, making plays throughout the offseason and OTAs. Looking good and looking more pro ready than the other wide receiver taken in the 4th round by Tennessee is DK. So Iamanor probably got a head start, looks more pro ready. How about for the Broncos? They bring in Pat Bryant, right, from Illinois, and hey, slow 40 time, 4.61, probably dropped in the draft. Has the most reliable hands though of the receiver class. Really good hands, but a little pedestrian by that 40 time. So you look at Tennessee, of course. You look at their depth. Well, you have Tyler Lockett and Van Johnson holding down the 2 and 3 spots. So this Iamanor probably has some really good potential here. And in Denver, Mims and Vele certainly aren't household names, would be keeping him back. But 20th team passing last year, 31st position schedule though for Denver and that wide receiver core, where over on Tennessee, the number 5 position score, and better promise here with this Iamanor. So we're going to go with him. Tennessee gets off to a 1-0 lead. Moving on. How about the backup quarterbacks? Will Levis for Tennessee last year finished 30th overall. That's why they went to Cam Ward. He went 2-10 as a starter. Had 13 touchdown passes, but 12 interceptions. That's not very good. It's Ward's turn, right? And that Jared Stidham is the backup in Denver. Not much risk to Bo Nix there. Gonna help him out though a little bit. He re-signed him to a 2-year contract on the onset of free agency. So they wanted him back as their backup quarterback. Well, with Will Levis's struggle, neither of these are shining ones. We'll go with Stidham, though. In case he did get in, it would be the Denver offense versus the Tennessee offense. So neither one of them have great fantasy prospects here, though. How about backup, 3rd string running back? How about this Mullings for Tennessee, brought in the draft for Michigan, right? 6th round pick, but it was a deep class at running back, so it doesn't matter that it was so far down. He's good at running between the tackles. Probably going to be a special teamer. He's a converted linebacker and stars on special teams, but has bigger size. You know, hey, 226 pounds. Most of the other depth on Tennessee's running backs aren't the biggest, Pollard and Spears. So, hey, gives a little angle as a bigger running back for them. And you have that up against Audric Estime. Kind of a big size there, too. Finished 63rd overall last year. Just didn't have that. Hey, they platooned there in Denver last year. Struggled with ball security a little bit. Left off the playoff roster, which was kind of a surprise. Big body, though, 2nd year. And he's in a rookie contract. So we have him as number 3. There was a little coach, but Peyton said earlier that, hey, that he's going to get his opportunities in 2025. But that's before they signed Dobbins. So both of them are tight. We look at the schedule, 21st for them. 9th schedule for Tennessee. Both have crowded up above him. We'll go with Audric Estime. just Denver has a little more promise there, I think. But so Denver's to a 2-1 lead. We'll move on to our running back number 2. Got Tajay Spears. A lot of people thought we're going to have a platoon last year. He finished 44th overall, 4 touchdowns, but he missed 5 games with ankle, hamstring, 2 concussions. So some injuries last year kept him from too many games. You can see here he had some big explosive games late, though. So, but that's up against J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins brought into Denver, right? Surprise year last year, finished 23rd overall, 12 points a game when he was in there. 9 touchdowns, just missed 1,000 yards, played in 13 games, and most success since 2020. It's most games he's played in. And what does his late signing tell us? You know, he's brought in late. You know, R.J. Harvey was expected to be the number 1, probably still is. But Dobbins is probably going to share there a little bit. And does it really mean more that about this McLaughlin and the Estime and them, that maybe they didn't like the depth they were receiving behind them? Or maybe R.J. Harvey's going to take a little longer to get started. But hey, Dobbins was signed kind of late, brought him in. It's a great signing there for Denver, though. So obviously we're going to go with J.K. Dobbins here. But we'll have to watch through the preseason and see how Dobbins and R.J. Harvey are mixing in and seeing who's going to be the lead. But they're probably going to share, of course. We've got Sean Payton there, and he really likes the record of that, sharing those running back by committee. So anyway, we give J.K. Dobbins, the Denver's off to a 3-1 start. How about wide receiver number 3? We've got Tyler Lockett signed for Tennessee. Right, finished 72nd overall, 600 yards receiving. Been standing around in OTAs, not doing a lot. They don't want to risk an injury for a veteran of his many years. Does he still have a lot of juice left? He's going up against Vele. Vele was kind of a surprise for him last year, right? 475 yards, 3 touchdowns. Beat writer says few players have looked better than him in the off-season programs. He's looked really good in OTAs. Missed 4 games with a rib injury and still had enough to get 475 yards receiving. Tyler Lockett did a little bit more, the veteran there. So we look at Vele. See, he got off to a slow start there. There's some of those games missed, but you know, was there consistently for them last year. And Bo Nix, hey, right now they're just Marvin Mims ahead of him, kind of a special teamer, you know. And over on Tennessee side, hey, you've got him up there because he is second. Marvin Mims, just don't know here with Tyler Lockett. So we're going to go with, they even talked about cutting Tyler Lockett because they brought in the 2 rookies here. So, I am a Noor and this DK. So, we're going to go with Vele here. We'll go with Vele. That's a tight one. You just don't know with those positions. So we'll move on to wide receiver number 2. Neither of these teams have great wide receiver benches. So these rookies that we saw down here, Pat Bryant and Iamanor could very well take over and see significant time. How about Van Jefferson brought in? Finished 100th last year. 270, didn't really fire for the Steelers last year. Nobody really did. And hey, Coach Speak says he adds depth and competition to the wide receiver room. And you have Marvin Mims on the other. Wait a minute, he's going for his 3rd Pro Bowl. Finished 53rd overall last year. 3rd consecutive Pro Bowl at return specialist. Has good deep speed as a wide receiver. You can see here he's had 500 yards versus Van Jefferson's 200 yards. So we're going to go with Mims here. Denver's taking a commanding 6-1 lead. We move on to tight end. We have Okawana here for them. 479 yards, 2 touchdowns. Finished 25th at tight end last year. You can see here. Hey, 3.7 a game, 479 yards. Best tight end in town, maybe? Well, they brought in a rookie. Caught more passes out of the in OTAs than anybody else, though. They're kind of sold him there. He's looking good in OTAs, but they did bring in this rookie for them at tight end for them, so he'll be competition. We got, of course, Evan Ingram brought in from Jacksonville to Tennessee, 35th tight at 10 last year, but that's disappointing. Ingram had a disappointing season last year, 365 yards receiving, signed a 2-year, $23 million contract, though. 100 back in on his 2023 season, though, where he had 114 catches, second most in tight end history with that back there. So they're overlooking last year when they signed him, brought in. Well, he'll be the better tight end. You can see consensus rank has him 14th tight end overall, and has the 18th schedule. 22nd ranking for this Oquano, 7th schedule. So obviously Ingram's going to be the... All right, hit that subscribe button as the season gets closer. Our fantasy season, you want to be subscribed to get the latest. And give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thank you. Better pick there. We move on to wide receiver number 1. The points get a little bit better here. We have Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley finished 23rd overall last year, 8 points a game. Got to the 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. A top receiver on the team, not much behind him. All right, could be end up being the rookie's quarterback's Ward's focus, right? Where you just laser lock on him, kind of like Courtland Sutton last year, and they did in Denver, right? Finished 10th overall, right? 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. So, hey, not a lot of competition for him either. Now, and he is in the final year of his contract, so be looking out Sutton and be working hard to try to get that contract. He got him consensus ranked 18th overall and 31st for Calvin Ridley. Obviously, it's going to be Sutton. Can he keep it going with a little success he had last year? You know, let's not... He did. Hey, this was one of his best years since that 2019 season. He's been around a while, so hopefully success can keep going there. But we're picking Sutton. Obviously did more last year, although you can see that average per game 1.3 better. So obviously Sutton would be the pick there. You move on to running back number 1, Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, hey, 21st running back overall, 10 points a game, 5 touchdowns. You know, that maybe didn't have as much time. Benefited from Spears missing the 5 games. Remember, they were supposed to platoon, running back 1A and A, but quarterback upgrade could help. But Coach Speak says, hey, we're going to do a lot better of managing the load on Tony Pollard. Will manage the load on someone who finished 21st in fantasy isn't very good. Of course, we're going up against R.J. Harvey, rookie brought in. All right, rookie brought in. Peyton's offense has featured 2 running backs. So the question is, how about this Dobbins being signed so late? Did they not like what they saw in Harvey in OTAs? Or was it just the depth behind him, where they have no depth behind? I mean, McLaughlin, 49th overall. Audric Estime, we talked about him. Just never really put up too much competition. So this is kind of a close one. You see him, one's ranked 27th and one ranks 25th. So very close. I'm going to go with Harvey. Better team. You just don't know. Maybe he gets a hold of that number 1. Dobbins is a risk, no doubt. But, hey, they're already talking about on Tony Pollard limited in his touches and trying to save him back. Well, on the finished 21st overall last year anyway. So more limited on that. We're going to go with R.J. Harvey, just the unknown there, right? So, and we move on to the quarterback. Cam Ward. Cam Ward signed #1 overall. All right, brought into Tennessee. The future looks bright for him, but nah, I don't know about the immediate future. Right? He's not a big running quarterback, so don't think you're going to get some Jaden Daniels running numbers out of him. Has a weak wide receiver core. Not gonna. He's 26th ranked. Definitely will probably start all year. They're going to give him a long leash. Why wouldn't they? Build for the future. And of course, that's going up against Bo Nix. Bo Nix finished 7th overall. That legs last year. 3,700 yards passing, 29 touchdown passes. That's good too. What about a sophomore slump? The NFL has film on him now. They know he likes to run. Maybe they'll watch him at that running because that's legs really helped him last year. But that's versus Sean Payton, keeping it fresh with his creative play calling. You can see 76% from passing. That means he had 24% from this 4 rushing touchdowns, 400 yards. Every third down he'd run and get that first down. Just smart quarterback there. So obviously we're going with Bo Nix here. We want to watch out for that sophomore slump, though. They've got him ranked 8th. That might be a little high. Position schedule's 26th. NFL has more on him. Hey, I don't see a whole bunch of ads here at the wide receivers to really help out. In fact, the running game might be better with the Dobbins and Harvey pairing. So I don't know. I'd be kind of cautious on Bo Nix here on that 8th ranking. But obviously they're going to have more hit the ground running in his second year versus Cam Ward. Biggest finish of them all, Denver 19-1 here. Denver has a great bench. Tennessee still rebuilding. So Denver gets the win. Let's take a look at this.